Kamal, or wherever you are.
Thanks.
Kamal. Kamal.
Thank you, Tahir. Thanks everyone for joining the training session. As you always know, I usually present in PowerPoint. I'll show you how a few slides about the product, give you an intro, and then I usually flip into the demo. In this situation, everything's going to be in OneNote because I have added the presentation from PowerPoint to OneNote, and I'll show you how I did that in a very easy way. Of course, it's not like PowerPoint where you can flip between slides and it's full screen. It's more interactive, but that's what I'm going to do today. I do have it in PowerPoint slides and I will send it out after, but uh, because we're doing OneNote, why not present the whole thing in OneNote and show you some of the cool features as I do that instead of wasting my time on showing you a PowerPoint? You all know it. So this is the getting started with OneNote training sessions, more of a level 100. I'll give you an intro, but then there's going to be a lot of tips and tricks. They might be fast. Feel free to ask. My goal is to tell you, at least if you hear it from me, that it exists. I don't expect you to know exactly how it works and just do it right away. Some of them you might, but at least you know that OneNote allows you to do this one thing and one feature, one tip that I give you. So what is OneNote? OneNote is basically, if I go to the next slide, well, I have the agenda first. I'm going to talk about the intro, a lot of tips and trips, and some of the best practices. We can get into Q&A at the end if you need to. So what is OneNote? OneNote is your note-taking or your notebook is just in a digital format. So it's an application that allows you to capture your daily notes, your meeting notes, and organize them into one place. You can add tags, you can organize them in checkboxes. You can even draw. If you have a touch screen, you can use your ink, your pen, and stylus and just write all over it. You can access it from pretty much every uh, operating system. There's Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, they all have an app for OneNote. Even Windows itself has three different apps for OneNote. There's the Office 365 One desktop app, there's the Windows 10 app, and now 11, and there's also the web application. So you can always access it. You can even access it within Microsoft Teams. So if you have Teams, you can add the tab for OneNote. So there is really a lot of ways you can access it, which is great because you can continue seeing your notes throughout wherever you go. You're on the go, you're in person, you're accessing a computer from a hotel, and you can just log in and access your notes. These are some of the platforms that I mentioned. They have an app for pretty much uh, in every for Apple, Windows, Android, and on the web. I'm not going to go into details of this, but this is a good one. As I send it out, you can keep it just to get a high level understanding of how OneNote works and what each section is. There's a lot going on in it. This app has been around since the early 2000s. It really developed throughout every iteration of it. They add a lot of new feature, and it's sometimes confusing. And I want to emphasize that there are different apps for different platforms. So there are things that I might talk about today that you don't see. So keep in mind that I'm using the OneNote Office 365 desktop app, which is one of the most powerful ones, but it still doesn't have all the features as others. And the same thing, the web app may have features that my desktop app doesn't have, and the other way around. So it's always hard to present about OneNote just because of how features work, and you don't know. I personally, as a presenter, I don't know what end users see and what version of OneNote they have. But I'm showing one of the most recent versions that I have, and it has a lot of the cool features. So this is the navigation. And I am in OneNote right now. If I do this, you can see this is the top bar where is the home, insert, draw, and all of the sections. So that top ribbon has pretty much everything you need to navigate between those sections. Then you can explore any of them, and we're going to go and dig deeper into some of the coolest features, in my opinion, that you can find in each of these ribbons. The left-hand side is basically your notebooks usually, so you can navigate and change between all of them. I am in full screen right now, so I can only see the ribbon on top, but once I hit the escape here and I minimize, then I can see all my notebooks and I can see all my pages as well as all my sections. So let me go back into full screen real quick so you can see everything. See, it's not as powerful as PowerPoint in presenting, but it does the job. You can insert, you can use the drawing as well, get a pen and highlight. So this is the notebook section. It's the most important one, I would say. This is how you can create notebooks. Keep in mind, one tip I would say here is a lot of people, when they start using OneNote for the first time, a lot of you might already know this, they create a lot of notebooks. You don't need to. You just need one notebook, and then you can split it into as many sections and pages you want. So I would create notebooks based on the topic. So if you're part of the finance team, so you need to create maybe one notebook called finance team notes, and then you add anything that is related to the finance team. But let's say you work on an initiative on the side that is a diversity and inclusion sort of initiative that you're working on. Then you can create another notebook called D&I, and then you can just add a bunch of pages and sections in that notebook. So that's how I personally split my notebooks. And then you have the pages on top normally. That's if you're using the desktop app. If you're using the web app, it will be lined up to the left. These are the pages. So once you have a notebook, if you have a divider, that's basically section, sorry. These are the sections. So if you have a notebook and you want to divide it into sections, that's all you got to do. Just create a new section on top. You can color code it, which I'll show you in a second. And split your work that way. Within the pages, within the sections, you can create as many pages as you want. The pages are created here on the right-hand side. So usually on the left, you got the notebooks. On top, you got the sections. On the right, you got the pages. You can manage it and change them, but these are the layers of OneNote. This is really important to understand the difference. Pages are very disposable, very easy to create and delete. You can just add page, delete, search within the pages, very easy. And every page you click on here, packing list, any of these, it will open this white space in the middle where you can start typing. So I'll go to the next section here where it goes zooms in into that into the notebooks. These are the notebooks. You can have as many as you want, keep them organized and clean. And from there, you could also create a new one. You can pin all the notebooks to the left-hand side. You can create quick notes. Quick notes are like sticky notes. You can quickly create them. And then the last thing here I say is this is the right-hand side, the pages. You can search within the pages and you can create new ones very quickly and easily. All right. So by now we had a very high level intro of what OneNote is and how to navigate it. That's the most important part. Just understand how it works. You got the notebooks, the sections, and the pages. Now you know that, you nailed down of how the concept of OneNote and how it works. You already saw this feature of full screen. You just click on this arrow and you get full screen. And then you can continue to use some of the features by clicking on the three dots on top. I'm going to zoom out now and exit this full screen mode so we can start talking about some of the features of OneNote as you see them here. All right. So I'm going to stay in this tips section here for a second and talk about, again, the notebooks. These are the ones on the left, the sections on top, and pages on right. I'm going to add a new page. Now I'm starting taking notes from the beginning in the page section. I'm going to add a title and say OneNote Level 100 Training. This is the title of your page only. You don't need to have one, but if you want to, you can add it. You can even change the date. It will record everything, the date, the time that you started taking this note. As you go with time, you can even update it, change the time if you feel it better fits what you're talking about here. You can click anywhere. It's an infinite note. You can go here at the bottom right, type a note. You can go here to the top left. It's an infinite, almost whiteboard where you can type, you can draw, you can do whatever you want in that space, and you can add as much as you want. I like to keep it clean to one area, but I've seen people go really deep, open a lot of pages and have it be very, very big with a lot of notes, and they just use one page. I don't personally like that. I like to create multiple pages and organize it that way and keep it minimal to that one page that I have. So when you start typing in OneNote, let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to say meeting notes. Hit enter. So from there, one of the most useful features is the tags. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about today. So tags are usually in the home section on top. You can add more. There are a lot of tags that you can use. My favorite is the checkbox, which is a to-do note, a to-do tag. You can also get to it by clicking Control 1. Control 1 will add the to-do checkbox, and it will check it as many times as you click on it. So I added the first one, say, present to the team. Next thing, and when you hit enter, it's going to add another to-do list item. If you don't want it to be to do, you can always switch it to important. You can add question. You can add as many of these as you want. You can even create your own custom tag. This is a pretty cool feature that not a lot of people know about. But if you want to highlight something quickly and you want to know this is yours, you can create your own tag. So I'm going to create my new Mal's tag. Font color, I'll make it red. And you can pick one of these many symbols they have. I don't believe you can add your own custom symbol, but you can use one of these. I like traveling. I'm going to add a plane next to it, and I'm going to highlight it in maybe, let's do a kind of pink color here. So now I have my own shortcut that you can't even see what it says. Okay, highlighted. I'm going to select this section and bam, now I have my own tag. Very ugly one, shouldn't have picked that one, but that's one way to create a tag, your own custom tag. So this is cool, but then how do you find it? Why do we use tags in a lot of times? Is because you can search for them. If you have, let's say, a lot of contact numbers, phone numbers that you're adding, you can add this tag that has a telephone next to it, and you can add any phone number you want. Not letting me type. There's a phone number, and then when you go to find tags, it will show you all the tags that you have, and it categorizes them into to-do list tags, into phone number tags, addresses, whatever you have, it will show it here when you do find the tag. A lot of people tell me, well, when you do the to-do list item, I can't find it again. That's how you find it. Because you might have 10 different pages in too many different sections that you said, this is an action item. This is a to-do item that I have. This is how you find it. You just click on find tags and you'll see all the checkboxes that you have. So this is mainly the same as your Outlook homepage where you can change the font, the size, bolding, you can add bullet points, coloring, highlighting. This is exactly the same. You all know this. I'm not going to go over it. Same thing with heading and some of the styles that we have here. You can just highlight, make it a quote, and it will do that. This is not something I want to spend too much time on. So we talked about homepage features, adding styles. The last one I want to talk about in this section is email the page. Because I use the desktop apps, if I click on this one, it will launch Outlook, and you're not going to see it because I'm only presenting OneNote, but it's going to launch it and email this page as is. It will print it into the email and send it. If you're using the web version, it will open the web version of Outlook and allow you to send that email. Now let's go into the next section, there's the insert section. There's a lot going on there. I'll show you a few of my favorite tips from here. The first one is record audio. There's record video. I'm not going to go over it. It's very similar as record audio, but if I click on it, it might mess up here the session that we have. But record audio allows you to, let's say you're in an in-person meeting, you can click on it. It will start recording the meeting you're in. So as it starts recording, let's say you're also taking notes. It will follow what you're saying and what you're typing at the same time, or whoever's talking. Let's say someone is presenting, you're taking notes, they're saying, we need to travel next week to California. And then you keep taking notes. Once you're done with the recording and stop it, you can actually find exactly what they talked when you wrote this note. So when I typed, we need to travel next week to California, I can hit play and it will actually play exactly when the presenter was talking about what the presenter was talking about at the time I took that note. It's really amazing feature. If you're someone who is collaborating in the meeting, you're talking, you need to respond, you need to pay attention, but you also need to take notes. It's really hard to do that. I find it difficult personally, and it's a challenge because if I'm typing, I can't listen to you. But when I do this, I just say one thing. Oh, travel to California. I take a really short note. It's recording already. I can go back to it and listen to what exactly we talked about and write the notes again. Tahir mentioned, Copilot and how Microsoft is introducing that. This part and this section may be irrelevant at that point because Copilot will just do this whole thing for you. But it's pretty cool that you can now do it using that recording feature.
Yeah, I think we needed to take a pause here because one, I didn't know about this. I don't know how many people on the call knew about this, but this is invaluable because there's so many times where I'll have an hour and a half meeting and we might have gotten 15 good bullet points, but there's nuances with each of those bullet points. And to be able to just click play and get that 45-second clip is, I mean, that's wild. And, as Kamal was talking about, the co-pilot's probably going to take this to the next level. Well, not only are they going to record it, but they're going to write up the summary for you, which I've seen where it's like, hey, it's going to take the most relevant information and write up a summary for you. So there's a lot of cool things within the Microsoft 365 ecosystem right now like this that's only going to be getting better. And that's why I know Microsoft can be challenging at times when they do price increases and everything else. But when I see how much is going on in the development of it, I just blows my mind.
Totally, yeah. This is I've used this feature a lot in the past. I recorded videos before there were a lot of tools available, so it's been around for a while, just underused, I would say. Um, there are other really cool features within this section as well. My second favorite is um, the screen clipping. It's probably the most used by me in OneNote. I personally take all my notes in OneNote, and I take even all my screenshots using OneNote. Some people like to use the screen clipping tool. I forgot the name because I don't use it as much, but I like to use OneNote, and I use the shortcut Windows. If you're on a Windows Shift N, and that will take a no Windows Shift S, that will take a screenshot, and then when you take the screenshot you can insert it using a paste. So I just took a screenshot on my other screen, and this is OneNote Wikipedia page. So I insert a screenshot directly by taking it using OneNote. You can also do screen clipping right away, and I can take that same one and it will directly insert it. So there are two options. You can either use the shortcut, which will allow you to add it to your clipboard. The other option would be using directly the screen clipping. It will insert the screenshot directly into your note, and it will add tags, things like when it was taken. You can change your settings to even insert the link of the website you took a screenshot from. So you can add more details. Mine is turned off and I keep it to only the date and time of when I took the screenshot. Now, let's say you took a screenshot. There's a lot of text in this one. There's one really cool feature that's been also around for a very long time, even before Apple and Samsung introduced a lot of those uh, text reading features on a picture, on an image. You can right click on any picture right here and copy text from it. And if I copy the text from it, hit enter paste, it will paste everything that it can recognize and read from that section, from that screenshot that you took. So I'm going to delete that first one so it's not too much. So you just copied everything that was in that image. It makes it a lot faster and easier if you have a PDF, or especially PDF, because it's hard to copy paste from PDFs. You can just take a screenshot, right click, and copy text from picture. I'll say it's not the most perfect, but it does the job and gets you started. It can even recognize hand notes, handwritten notes. It can copy text from them. On top of all of that, you can search an image. So by default, at every screenshot you take that has text in it is searchable. You see, by default, it's searchable in English. However, if you took a screenshot in a different language, you can tell it, oh, this was French, Spanish, or you can add more languages in the settings. If I go ahead and now search for platform, see it's highlighting it in yellow. It's highlighting platform support because that is part of the image and the screenshot that I just took. I like taking screenshots. It's so easy. Sometimes I'm in meetings, someone is presenting, I take a quick screenshot of what they are presenting, I toss it in a OneNote page, I can search for it. I'm not worried about it. If you don't want it to be searchable, let's say it's a lot of text in it and it's not that important to search, you can always right click and turn off and disable searching that specific image. In the settings, you can completely turn that feature off as well. So this is one of the really cool features. On top of taking screenshots, you can also search for the text and you can copy the text from that picture and edit it the way you want. So now I copied that text out of it. There are a lot more features in this section. I'll be jumping back and forth to them and show you some additional things. But since I copied and pasted some of that text out, I'm going to show you the review section. The review is really cool section in OneNote, underutilized even by me, but I don't really need a lot of what it offers in here. Things like translate, checking the language, adding a password. If you copied something that's really important, then maybe you don't want anyone to see it. It has passwords, then you can protect it using the password feature. You just gotta set it. Let's say the password is 1, confirm password is 1. Okay, now there's a password on that on this OneNote. You can lock it. You have to lock it. So now this whole section is locked. To unlock it, just hit enter, click on it, hit 1, bam, it's unlocked now. You can remove the password if you want to. You can check spelling. This helps if you are typing a lot of things and obviously it automatically misspelled some of the things, because I told you when you copy and paste out of an image, there's a chance that it doesn't recognize everything perfectly. So what's the next logical thing to do? No, not edit it by yourself, but use the spelling check, because now you can just click on whatever they misspelled and it will fix it quickly. Don't go through each one and fix it. Just go into spelling, find all the problems, and now you don't have anything underlined in red. So this is how I use most of the review section. Uh, the next thing related to text, and the next step is immersive reader. A lot of people use it in educations usually, not in business setting. It has the feature where you can highlight the text, click on immersive reader. I am not did my pop-up show up, or are you still seeing my OneNote,
Just
the
we just see
notes?
the meeting notes. We don't see
Okay.
it pop up.
Okay, so what immersive reading does is basically it will open it in another tab. It's really cool. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to switch where I'm presenting. Give me a second. This is the immersive reader. It will, what I highlighted in the whole text, it's gonna add a lot of, let me go to the settings here. So the it goes and checks your grammar. It tells you the nouns from the verbs, from the adjectives, from the adverbs. You can disable some of these off. You can disable the labels. Again, it's used more in education. I find it pretty cool. You can zoom in on the reading by go line at a time. It can read it to you as well. You can go 2 lines, 3, whatever you want, and you can play it. It's going to read it and explain some additional details to you. All right, so I just wanted to quickly show it because usually that's part of more of the text editing and some of the features that they have, like translate, immersive reader, and help that they give you. All of that is going to be in Copilot. Minimize the password here quickly, and let's go to the next part. Now, we talked about a lot of this added features to the text. I'll go back into the insert page, and I want to talk about the printout. You can print out pretty much anything into OneNote, whether it's on the web, from Teams, from PowerPoint. If you hit Control P, like to print, you all know that you can print to PDF, but you can also print to OneNote. If you have the OneNote app and you print, sometimes it's not going to show up right away with the PDF. You got to click on more options. And if OneNote is open, it's going to give you print to OneNote. And that's how I was able to get my presentation printed into this section right here. So I can add a new page, click on File Printout. This is my presentation inserted. Give it a second. As you can see, it's in PowerPoint. And it will print out everything, all the slides into my page. You can insert, you can draw, you can type on top of it. Typing on top of it is difficult in OneNote, so you might want to right click and set picture as background, and now you can type on top of it. So that's the file printout. You can also attach it. So let's say you're taking notes. Let's go back to this one. I'm taking meeting notes, and at the bottom, someone shared a deck or a spreadsheet or any sort of attachment, even a PDF. You can attach it into your OneNote page. So if I hit insert of that one, you can do attach a file, and it's clickable pretty much from anywhere. You can double click on that PowerPoint and it will launch it in PowerPoint, not in OneNote. So that's one way you can even organize your work within OneNote, and the attachments can also be included. Spreadsheets, you can create a new spreadsheet or you can use an existing one. So if you're doing some numbering and you want it to be in Excel and create some formulas rather than create a basic table within OneNote, then you can create a new spreadsheet and it will be connected to an actual Excel spreadsheet where you can create formulas. If you like to do math in Excel, you can do that, but guess what? OneNote can actually do some math for you. I've done it a few times where I would be talking to someone, we're adding notes, and they're like, oh, this is gonna cost 250, the other thing's gonna cost 60, and then 80. You can add actually the equation and hit equals at the end space, and it will add up all the numbers for you. This I used it more in college, honestly, when I would be taking notes in math class. I would add the numbers and it will do the whole equation for me. You can even use the equation section here. You can insert a new equation and it will just do the whole thing for you. There's a lot of details here. I'm not going to go into it because I know most of you may not be in education, but this feature is really cool. You got to explore it. You can use the ink equation where you actually write down your equation and solve for X using that feature. If you have the Apple and an iPad or a tablet and you use OneNote, you can write your whole formula and just insert it using the drawing feature and then use the ink equation, circle it, and it will write it down in a very nice way and it will even solve for it. So that's the equation feature of OneNote. Let me go back and see what I have next in tips and tricks. All right, so layout. So I talked about how the pages and the notebooks could be in different places. Mine, I like to keep this hidden. This is the section where I have all my notebooks, but you can always pin it. And now if you do, it's going to be on the left-hand side. Some people like to organize their work that way, where they always see their notebooks because they flip back and forth frequently between them. I don't flip frequently between notebooks, so I like to keep it hidden. And then you have the sections on top. You can also flip that one to the left-hand side, and you can take the pages from the right to the left. So all of that needs to happen in your options section display. So you go to option display and move page list to the left. And then you can move everything pretty much to the left, and now you have it on the left-hand side. Some people prefer it that way, to have the pages on the left and the sections on the left-hand side. I'm used to it on the right because that's how it's always been for years, so I just kept it that way. Go back to option, display. Let's just move it, page list back to where it was. If you like different coloring and you want to color code your sections, right click on the actual name of the section, and section color can be changed from purple to yellow to purple mist, anything you want. Pretty much, there are a lot of coloring options here. It will change the coloring of the whole thing, even the right-hand side. The page itself, you can add a background color if you want. The background color is from the view section, page color, and you can change it yellow, green, whatever you want. The default is always going to be white, but you can always add different colors to it. Even the notebooks can be, the color can be changed on them. Properties, and then you can flip it blue, let's say, and now this notebook is colored blue. Lots of coloring options. You can even add lines if you prefer that way, and you just want to type on each line, just like if you actually have a notebook. There are a lot of options here between the thicker lines and the more standard ruled grid lines as well. They have all these options that you can select from. Let's go back to none. All right. So now this is all about how you can change the coloring. Because we're talking about colors and sections and how you can color them, let's go into the draw section. I am using a mouse, so I am not using a stylus. I'm not on an iPad, but this section is really helpful if you have a touch screen and an easier way than a mouse to draw and paint and color. I'm gonna do my best using my my mouse. So you can draw, you can even highlight things. So if I go back into any of my tips here that I took screenshots, the presentation, I can highlight introduction to OneNote. I can highlight that we're gonna talk and do some Q&A at the end. So the printout that you have in OneNote in one of the pages, you can even use the drawing and the highlighting to add to it and make it presentable in a different way than it was in PowerPoint. If you're between sections here and you want to add more space so you can add notes, you can use the insert space and drag up or down, and this will give you more space to potentially write and print and draw. If you don't like it, go ahead and erase it. Ink to shape is also cool. If you are also drawing a lot, you can insert anything. Let's say I'm going to do a perfect triangle here. And then ink to oh, I gotta click on it first. It's okay. Square and a circle. So you can use that feature if you are drawing some of these very unique shapes, that you can use the ink to shape feature. Ink to math is the other one I mentioned, where you can draw out basically or type your whole equation and it will write it out in a very nice way into your OneNote. if you deleting in history, let's talk about this next. So this tip is mainly about if you accidentally deleted a page or a section, go to the history section and click on notebook recycle bin. When you do that, it will take you to a whole different section where you can see everything that you've deleted in the past. Keep in mind, now, if you don't exit that view, you're going to be stuck on it. So you need to go back to the history section and uncheck notebook recycling bin. This way you get back into your actual notebook. You can look at version history as well. So if you have shared this notebook with others, and this is more helpful, as I will show you in a second, when you're using the Microsoft Teams shared notebook, or you have shared the notebook with others, then you can see the recent edits from today, and it will be highlighting who edited what and where. You can even find the authors, you can hide the authors, you can do some of the additional history and version history features within that section. So that's pretty much it about the top features, in my opinion, in the OneNote app. Now I'm going to show you quickly how within Microsoft Teams you can access the OneNote app. So let me launch it.
We do
So,
have
are there
a
questions?
question also. Yeah, we have one question. To do tags, do they sync to Office or Outlook tasks so you can see or complete them there, or do you have to follow and complete them in OneNote?
You have to complete them in OneNote, the ones that you create in OneNote. There are options where you can get an email or a meeting invite from, if you have a calendar invite in Outlook, there's an option to send to OneNote. These will be connected where you can, every time you click on the notes from that meeting, it will launch that page that you created, but it doesn't link those. If I go to the home section, I believe they're talking about tasks or the tags or the tasks. Which one?
Tasks,
Is
the tasks, they're wanting to know if the,
yeah,
the
the
task section of
tag.
Outlook, if they synchronize with this OneNote.
So it's they're saying to do tags. The tags do not link. Like these ones will not link. These are separate. They are in OneNote only. But if they're using the Outlook tasks, these come from Outlook and they could connect. But yeah, definitely the tags here will not. These are separate. That's I see how that could be an issue because now you're tracking in different places. But that's how OneNote has always worked, where if you add to do and any of the tags, they are separate than Outlook on any other section or any other app within Microsoft. So I went to Microsoft Teams, and if you guys have more questions, we'll have time in about 4 minutes to talk about them and answer any questions. So please put them in the chat. But within Teams, there are multiple ways you can get to your notes. We talked about this in the past when we presented this. So one placeholder for everything, but the one thing that is really cool about it is within a team or any channel that you have, you can add the plus sign here, click on it to add a tab, and you can add a OneNote notebook. So when you do that and actually create it, I have one already created here, the notes, this section. This one will be visible to everyone on your team, so it's automatically shared. In my opinion, if you want to share a notebook with anyone, this is the best way to do it. Don't do it within OneNote. I know you might have been waiting for me to say, here's how you share a note from here. You can invite people and so on. You can do it that way. However, my personal preference is if you're going to share with more than one person, I recommend that you use Teams, create a team, add team members to it, and then create notebooks within that team. It's easy, it's accessible by everyone. It's not going to break because I've seen it break a lot when you share directly a personal note with someone. And if you end up using this feature here, the file, invite people, they will see everything. They will see all your notes, all your pages. OneNote does not allow you to just share one page or one section. It's all or nothing. So keep that in mind when you hit the share button on a page, thinking you're only sharing the page with them. You're actually sharing the whole notebook with them. And that's a limitation in OneNote. I just wanted to let you know about it. So you might as well create a separate one and have them work in it. If you want to launch it in your desktop app, let's say you created this team notebook. It's been created. You have all the section and all the pages. You created it. Everybody can edit. Everybody can collaborate at the same exact time. But if you don't like this view and you want to view it separately, you have three options actually. You can open it in the browser, and that will take you to Edge or Chrome, your preferred browser, and launch this notebook. But when you click on the drop down here, there's an option that says Open in Desktop App. If I click on that one, it will automatically connect that notebook now into my desktop app. And every time I launch my desktop app, that notebook will be visible to me and I can edit it within all my notebooks. So it's going to be added to this list. If I no longer want to see it, I left the team, I don't care about that team anymore, just right click on it and close this notebook. Closing any notebook will not delete it. Closing a notebook will just remove it from your view. So that's how you can access it. There's also one thing I will add to Teams is if you click on more added apps and you can search in the App Store of Microsoft Teams, you can actually search for OneNote. And if you do that within Teams, you can access all your notebooks as well, even the ones that you had on your desktop app, the ones that you have in Teams, they're all going to be visible to you here in your notebooks. Does that make sense? Any questions? Let's see if we have any more questions.
All right, we'll open it up for questions. Kamal, we've gotten some really good feedback already. We appreciate you. Let me change the settings. I'll allow people to unmute if they want to.
All right. If I'll keep talking until I see someone raise their hand or unmute and talk, because there are a lot of features always in OneNote. And pages, you can even the pages on the right hand side, you can add subsections. So if let's say you have the main page that you took the meeting notes in, but then every week you meet again and you don't want to keep it in one page, you want to create the 5-3 meeting. What you can do is you can just drag it a little bit to the right, and now it's a sub page of the actual page, and you can minimize it, and now you organize everything, you can minimize them, keep it clean. I've gotten to a point where I'm like scrolling up and down here on the right hand side because I have way too many pages, until I learned this and I started just, you could have a sub page of the sub page. So additional meeting notes, that could be a sub page of the sub page, and then I can minimize everything. If you don't want to drag it like this, you can right click and there's an option that says, where is it? Promote a page, make a sub page, or promote as a sub page. So these are some of the cool options where you can do with the subsections of the actual pages. You can also link to any of those pages. And I'm going to show you a quick way you can, there are two ways you can link. Let's say I have this training and I added notes here saying 5-3 meeting notes. We did take the notes, but I just have the notes in a different section. You can highlight, right click, and link. Where's the link? Right click on this one and link, or Control K. This is the same as in Outlook and in other places within Office, Word, Excel, all of them you can link. You can select any of the sections that you have. So in this scenario, we are in the tips section, meeting notes, okay, and it's gonna link to it. Now, if you already know you're gonna have, I'm gonna add a new page. I'm gonna say meeting notes. I know we're gonna meet weekly or daily. So I'm going to add the 5/5/2023. We have 5/6/2023. And we have different sessions. So this one will be OneNote. This one will be Teams training. So you can, if you're in a meeting, you're organizing your dates, you're like, this is when we're going to meet, this is what we're going to talk about. A trick that you can do, you can highlight all of these and you can do link to pages. I haven't used it in a while. Just remember that feature. So I wanted to show you that one. And bam, it creates the pages on the right automatically for each one of these line items, and they're clickable. So if I click on it, it takes me there. So this could be helpful if you took a lot of action items, like we're going to do these 6 things. We're going to meet about these 6 items. You're already in the meeting, you're taking all of them, but then you want to create a page for each one of these items. Just highlight everything, right click, and create a link for them. I have all my tips and tricks in here. These are some of the highlights that I wanted to talk about. I can highlight all of them and say link to pages. Now, each one of these features is going to have its own page, and I can start adding specific notes to them. So like if I'm talking about print to OneNote, I can add my own notes to it. I can even select all of these and make them a sub page by selecting all and dragging them to the right. So all of these should be, these are sub pages for the main one that's called meeting notes or the presentation. You can drag and drop and move them around. That's pretty easy. It's very easy to navigate the pages section. And I really like to try to keep it clean. I get to a point where I create a lot of pages. Just you gotta delete, clean up, link pages. That's some of the best thing you can do, just to keep it organized.
Awesome. And there's a lot in OneNote.
Oh, there's a lot
There's a
more.
lot in there. But the good thing is, just like Teams, like all the applications of Microsoft, it's like it can be as simple as you need it to be or as in-depth as you need it to be. Like it can just keep on going. Like a lot of people just use Teams for chats and groups. Other people like integrate most of their workday into Teams. Like it really is. It can be as shallow or deep as you need it to be. Well, Patricia likes my cat hat. Thank you, Patricia. I do appreciate it. This is fuzzy. So, Kamal, anything else before we
One last
wrap
one in
up?
Outlook.
Okay,
Any
cool.
meeting you attend, I don't know how I forgot to say that one, but you can send to OneNote. If whether you use the desktop app, the web app, there's a OneNote integration in every meeting that you are part of. So in this scenario, I'm able to go to my notebook, personal list, any of those, and just insert tips. I'm going to save it in there. Didn't work this time. I'm using the web version, but that's one way you can get all the meeting agenda. The details of the meeting will be automatically added to OneNote. Even the attendees, you can check box who attended and who didn't by using that feature.